Okay, there you go.
Is this actually recording? No, I can't see nothing.
Yep. Chat. There you go.
All right, check. Are we live? Do you want to clap?
Your marketing ROI. Interview with Stanley Genadek. Take one. There you go. What's up, guys? This is Keith Kelfus with Your Marketing ROI, and in this interview, I have somebody very special I want to introduce you to. This is Stanley Genadek, the owner of Genadek Landscape and Excavating in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. He owns a multiple six-figure-a-year business, and he also has a YouTube channel with about 70,000 subscribers and well over 1.5 million to 2 million minutes a month viewed. He is an expert and authority in the industry and outside of the industry of landscaping, excavating, and being a social media influencer. He's been flown out multiple times to different events by major manufacturers, distributors, and equipment dealers. I mean, you name it. He's been in magazines and everything, and a lot of people look up to him. But most of all, the guy he takes action. When he has a good idea, he just goes directly for it, and he's been able to transfer and build skills and talents amongst different industries, literally at will. So he's a multi-talented guy, and today we have Stan Genadek right here, and I'm going to ask him some penetrating questions about marketing, because he definitely has a marketing mind. What's up, Stan?
Perfect, thank you. One of the things that I want to clarify real quick, Keith, you said that I take action, but before I take any action, I make sure that this is something that I'm ready to commit to, because it's not lightly that you can take action, because you've got to understand that it's a battle, man. It's like a war that's got to be fought over and over and over again. So when you commit to a decision, whether it's starting a new business or whether it's, you know, trying to expand or grow your company or whatever it is you do, you don't just take action and then kind of get off on a different track and then kind of meander back and forth. You determine if that is worth the amount of time and energy and effort that you have to commit to see it through to its final result, because it's going to be like an uphill battle the entire way. I mean, when you finally determine this is something that I want to go for, it's going to be straight up. I mean, it's going to be like you're climbing a mountain and the mountain's going to go backwards on you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to hang on. But then as you get closer to the top, it gets easier because you get stronger. You get more conditioned. You get accustomed to the situation, the circumstances, the things that will take down the novice person, because they don't have the heart, the will, the fortitude to commit in the very beginning when it's the absolute toughest, because they don't see where the end result is, and it may be way up here. And so that's why I'm saying, when I want to clarify, when you say, yeah, I take action, but it's very select action. I'm not just going to go off here or there without understanding the long-term commitment that it takes to accomplish the results, because everything I do is like a marathon. It's not a sprint. There's absolutely nothing that is sprint-like about anything we do.
That's really good. You're already opening up a whole bunch of questions, and I will keep it straight and narrow for the specificity of this interview. So listen very close to everything he's saying. Stan is a guy who is literally admitted, on video, certain mistakes he's made that's cost tens of thousands of dollars that he's used as examples. When you said that was so powerful, because I'm like, anything you try to achieve is going to take, you can go through hell making it happen. I don't know if I specifically am going to say stuff, but can you share a little bit of your story? And
well, here's a great example. You and I were talking off camera about some of the difficulties we have with YouTube, correct? Mm-hmm. And so some of those difficulties, some of those challenges, to me, they don't exist. All they are is something that is presented in my path that's blocking me from reaching my end goal. But when I can flip and spin that, it becomes an opportunity for growth. Mm-hmm. Now, what was once a hurdle can become a launching pad to take you even further and better, to build you up stronger than ever before. Because it's going to do one of two things. It's going to stop you. Whether it's in YouTube or a business or any type of endeavor that you strive for. Obstacles present themselves to build your character, to strengthen your will. They force you to become a better individual that's going to take you further in the long run. Well, again, the marathon thing. So the obstacles that I'm facing in my channel right now, I just haven't figured out yet how to spin them. right? Because it's a daily grind. And in business in general, there's always going to be obstacles. And it's how you look at those obstacles that determines your overall success, right? I mean, and if I'm not hitting the point, just bring me back in, okay? Let me clarify things there. I don't want to make sure that the audience listening right now, it really gets the point. An obstacle, when it's there, is going to stop you, or it's going to build you and take you even further. So you got to flip it, you got to spin it, and you've got to use that as another rung in the ladder, getting you to where you want to go.
So instead of perceiving it as like this huge negative problem that's you can't get past it, you fight your way through it, and then you use it as a
learning tool.
A learning tool, gymnastics, that thing. Now I know that for sure.
Yes.
That's a stepping stone.
Yes.
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 Yes. It's a stepping stone.
Yes.
That was a big aha for me just now.
Yes.
Because I have a little bit of the residual victim mindset when something pops up. Like, I want things to be buttery smooth. I can't stand when these, but that's amazing, because the hardest times in my life and in my business made me so much stronger. So now you can go faster.
Yes.
But in the beginning, you can't see that momentum because you're like on a 10 speed going, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. That is it.
I'm fired up. End of interview. No. So the next thing I want to ask you is two different things. One about your actual physical contracting, your contractor business, and then next about the internet business. And earlier we were talking in the hotel. We're actually at an event right now. We are flown out to an event, and it's a great opportunity. But you're saying it's the same principles.
Business is all the same principles. Okay, so you've got to understand that there's specifics within a business that change, whether you own a bakery or you own a landscaping company or whether you own an internet marketing company. Those specifics are different, but you've got to understand the backbone. So there's a core to business principles, and those are things that you start to learn when you're a kid if you have the opportunity. If not, then as an adult, you can still take classes, courses, you can start to understand that, but you really want to start to understand the core. Get out of the theories and start to get into the foundational principles. Accounting, understanding your numbers, knowing, your return on investment, knowing your close ratios. These are the fundamentals. These are the actual, get rid of create the system. No, you've got to understand how to make a system. You've got to actually make the system. You've got to actually implement the system. There's so many books out there, Keith, that they spout, just come up with the system, but that's a theory, right? Yeah. The book doesn't actually give you the system. They rely on you, the entrepreneur, the business owner, to actually implement the system. To implement the system, you've got to understand the basics. And you don't have to get really advanced with any of these things, but you've got to understand what a balance statement is. You've got to understand what your cash flow statements are, your balance sheet, I should say, cash flow, all of these things you have to understand before you can take it to the next level. So it's get that foundation, and whether that's going back to your core classes or the core education, simple education, build that up. Get that behind you so that it's boom, 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 boom. We talk about, like, in my business, in landscaping, there's two things. I just did a webinar, and I said there's two things you have to understand. And I'm just going to use this as an example. You have to always remember your birthday, and you have to always remember these basic formulas, and that's rock calculations, volume calculations, things like that.
Good. Just checking the time.
Good. Okay. So that's basically what I'm talking about, is making sure that you understand all of the core before you start to go for the theory.
Okay, so what would you say the balance between theory and learning versus execution should be, to where you're getting too far off into just learning more versus executing, or executing without understanding what you're doing? Do you get what I'm saying? What's your learning versus execution balance?
Well, no, I don't get it.
Do you just go out and start implementing and doing it?
Yes,
and then you base off those results?
Okay, now I get the question. Thanks for putting it into terms of Pollock can understand.
A lot of people are saying, I'm too afraid to go do it, so let me learn more about it.
Analysis paralysis.
Same.
Okay, So that's what a lot of guys, what stops a lot of guys, they put way too much thought into it and they don't actually go out and do it. So you've really got to do it, and then you've got to measure your results after you've done it. So if you do a job, if you do sales, if you do individual projects or whatever it is you're doing, then you take that project and you look at what you bid it at, and then you go, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to reverse engineer. The project's done. I want to completely understand how I did on this project. So now I know the absolute best way to do this project. So the next time I do it, I can either duplicate the results or I can improve upon the results. So first you do it, then you analyze what you've done, and then you improve upon the process. So you eliminate the analysis paralysis. Even if you do it at break even, if you don't have that base, that foundation, the core principles behind you, the actual hands on the ground, feet on the ground, hands in the dirt work experience, you can't improve upon the process, right? So you've got to accomplish the task at least once before you can go, all right, now I know how to do it better.
So you turn a mountain into a speed bump.
Yes.
That's interesting. So I do landscaping, own a landscaping business. We did a project just this week. It rained constantly, turned into a big mudslide. All of my 3/4 of my labor, my profits went out in labor, and I was really pissed off. It's because we also ran into things in the project that I've never ran into before on a job, and I didn't foresee it beforehand.
Did you have your bid set up so that it would account for any unforeseen conditions and it wouldn't hold you responsible?
No.
Oh, and
this is good.
Now, the next time you bid the job, you will actually very clearly outline what you will do, and if there's anything outside of this proposal, it's an extra.
It's an extra.
It's an
It's
extra.
so perfect. And the 80-20 rule is the 20% of the job that took us 80% of the time. That 20% it was. We happened to be replacing black diamond edging around a property and fixing where it was all split up. Once we started ripping it out, we noticed it had risen up and needed to be replaced because there was roots that were all growing, and now we're hacking through, roots, and then there's lines.
So that was a soil correction?
Yeah.
That's considered a soil correction. So then you could have went to the customer and said, we've encountered soil correction conditions.
Unforeseen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So your proposal will put the blackjack edging in, but it's not going to be chopping through roots, working around utility lines. You can start to outline those individual things. You can create a boilerplate template that from this point forward will show all of the things, and then as you grow as a business owner and you experience more things on the job, you will continue to add to that boilerplate so that you have a whole list of line items that you will not cover, but what you will do is install blackjack edging, and we'll have clear conditions, no roots, no underground utilities, not working around any et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of the conditions that in the past have slowed you down. It's no longer going to ever slow you down again.
I'm just letting that set in because the tendency and the habit is to go, oh yeah, and then not implement it. So how would you put that into a marketing piece?
Well, now we want to talk about marketing, how I would put that into marketing. Well, that's experience. That's going to teach you how to improve your profits, okay? As far as marketing, I don't really know if you could, right off the bat, how to market it, but I do want to talk about what some of the most important tools in when you're marketing. What do you think the most important tool is when you're doing a marketing campaign?
Follow up and social proof.
Okay, it's your mouth.
Repeat business, exactly.
It's your mouth. Your mouth makes you money. Mm-hmm. Your mouth, my mouth, it's our decisions, it's what comes out of our mouths, it's what makes us money, it's what gains us YouTube subscribers, and what gets us customers. And when you're interacting with a customer, you're selling a job, it's your mouth and how the customer perceives you.
My uncle was an old Amway guy. He used to go like this to me. Just keep talking, you'll keep making money.
And so when you understand that your mouth makes you money, you also understand how to interact with a customer, how to mirror their body language. Do you see what I'm doing right now, Keith? Do you see how naturally
He's mimicking and mirroring? He's using neurolinguistic programming techniques of persuasion.
I am, but I am not doing that consciously.
It's become unconscious competence.
It has absolutely become unconscious, because when you get to the point where you understand what a customer wants, how to impact a customer, everybody is different, and so you're going to if you are you're going to rub some customers the wrong way. You're going to have some customers fall in love with you and want to call you uncle before you're done with the job site. But when you want to improve your close ratio, you're going to learn some of the slight nuances that you do as a salesperson, because a lot of what your success of your business depends on that first perception that the customer gets from you. So when you really want to achieve success, you're going to practice when it doesn't count. You're going to practice outside of interacting with the customer, because the money's on the table. When you're talking with a customer, Keith, the money's on the table. But when you go to a networking event, there's no dollar bills that are going to fly out the window if you say something wrong. And so what we just talked about is analyzing your jobs. You're going to analyze your interactions. Okay? You're going to analyze, how well did I interact with this person? How did that social communication, that social engagement go? Right? And so you're going to go to networking events, not because you want more work, but because you want practice interacting with people. You're going to go to the Subway, the gal or the guy at Subway, and you're going to stop and you're going to say, not because you want to be devious or anything like that.
Oops. Let me reset.